Welcome to Mom Bods and Margaritas, where two childhood friends navigate the wild and crazy world of midlife.
That's right. We're diving into the ups and downs of relationships, motherhood, health, sports, and everything in between.
Join us as we share our personal stories, laugh through the challenges, and explore how to thrive in this transformative phase of life. Whether you're feeling lost, empowered, or somewhere in between, we're here to remind you you're not alone.
So grab a coffee or a margarita, settle in, and let's embark on this journey together. It's time to embrace the chaos and celebrate the beauty of midlife. Let's get started.
I wish I had more room. I need a bigger table to put all of my stuff on. I got tahini on here now. After I got off the phone with you, I put some on. Let's start with a toast. Cheers.
Hello, cheers. How are you?
Good. We're cheering to a fun episode tonight.
Yeah, we're super excited. I am mad that Lisa has tahini on her cute glass, and sadly, I didn't pick any up at the store. So, anyway, I'm just going with the regular margarita.
Looks like it's as big as my head. So I may be here a while taking a sip, but
I think that's okay.
And then look what, you always need emotional support. So I was drinking water when I talked to you earlier because I was in between drinks. So this is what I'm using for my water.
I love that. Somebody cool got you that.
Somebody really, really cool.
Yeah.
My support.
I need a glass or an episode rather where you wear your birthday hat that I got you.
Oh yes, honey. I should have done that last week.
Yes.
Dang it.
Yes. Oh, well, it'll make a special appearance at some point.
Yeah. But anyway, so I'm hoping we don't bore everyone to death. I always love these kind of questions. This is something like what we did last season, but those were sporadic questions we asked each other. So we have more tonight. And of course, Mandy didn't write hers down. I did. She just stores hers. She wants to be more like sporadic than I do about it.
Yes. But listen, I have ADHD, and you would think that me writing things down would be helpful, and it's not. I did write like one thing down so I wouldn't forget the name of something. But other than that, I'm just going off the cuff because that's the way I live my life.
You are a bit busier than I am. So probably your free time, you did not want to go through all these questions. But let me say something first because other people may be thinking it. My aunt basically binged like all of our YouTube episodes. So the other day she was like texting me left and right, and she would just like ask me questions or comment about stuff. And I'm thinking, I don't remember what she's talking about. She would just like ask a random question, and then 15 minutes later just ask a random question. But anyway, she said, "What are you always leaning over looking at?" She said, I know it's not your drink because I'm seeing you drink it. So if you don't remember, I've said on here before, I'm having to tap on my iPad because my notes are here. So I'm constantly leaning over. I am listening and paying attention, but this is where I keep my notes. So I don't have any room to keep it anywhere else.
Listen, we are not stiff. Let me tell you, I have a tendency when I'm talking and or listening to someone intently, and you can probably ask my coworkers, I lean up and I'm like in the camera listening. I caught myself the whole last episode being like, hello, right up in the thing. So I'm trying to sit back further today so I don't look like a creeper. But yeah, I had someone text me today and be like, I would be so mad if I had paid that at the school and then they didn't, And so people are listening and then they just text us stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, that was about the tuition that I was complaining about.
Because especially our first few episodes, we record those way early because I like to be ahead of the game, and we never end up staying ahead of the game. So like the last half of the season, we basically, recorded within the week that it goes live. But anyway, Because I'm like over the top and just that's just how I am about this kind of stuff. I mentioned to you earlier, but for everyone else listening, I'm doing a number randomizer generator. Okay. It's because I just can't go down the list of questions. So I'm doing a number generator. I know Mandy's like, okay. And whatever pops up, that's the question we're answering because I don't know that we'll get to everything. And some of these
Yeah.
aren't broken up very well. So, as cheesy as it is, that's what we're doing.
Well,
Okay.
that's fine. And I'm long winded. So buckle your seatbelts, guys.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Okay. So, the first number that popped up was number 5. So,
Okay.
who do you think is your all time best vocals?
Okay. I was hoping I would get this one.
Oh, really?
Yes. So everybody on here knows, at least those of you who followed me last time, I love grunge, metal, all the things. Um, this is a huge argument for a lot of people that like the kind of music that I listen to, but in no particular order, although maybe the first two are in the particular order. I would say Eddie Vedder
Okay.
from Pearl Jam. That's a must just because it's nostalgic. Don't come at me. Okay, these are my opinions. Lane Staley, I'm going to say he and Chris Cornell are really close. They're 1 and 2. And depending on what day it is, Chris is number 1 and Lane is number 2. And there are other days that Lane is number 1 and Chris is number 2. So again, don't come at me. Somewhere in there, only because of the song 18 in Life, which I have recently downloaded and re listened to from the 80s. Sebastian Bach, who can blow out some windows. So I love that. Um, I think that's it. I'm trying to think of someone else that I would put in there. Probably Robert Plant.
This is interesting because I picked no men. Mine's,
Okay.
mine's all women.
Okay. I'm not surprised by that.
And this is easy for me because I've always said this about these, but and none of mine are in any kind of order too. Carrie Underwood,
Oh, yeah, for sure. I totally agree.
Whitney Houston,
Totally agree.
Christina Aguilera,
Totally agree.
Celine Dion. Come on.
I agree. I just do
You
not
might
like
not like
her.
her music, but her
I
voice
just
is
don't like her as a person either.
gotcha.
But so that's hard for me. But yes, she
I
has
can
a
see that.
beautiful voice.
And Kelly Clarkson.
Oh, number one to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I love it. She can sing anything.
Oh, her music is great and her voice is amazing. All right, go to number 17 while I delete mine.
Oh my gosh.
Did you number yours? So you're counting.
No.
I
Uh,
did.
Bring them back. Is that it?
Let me see. Number 17. Yeah. So if there's just something that you could bring back, if you need me to go first, oh my
No.
gosh. Jeffrey Hunter. Hold on. I'm sorry because I can't put it on airplane mode because I'm doing my number generator.
We have to leave it on. We have to leave it.
Hey, I'm actually recording my podcast right now. Okay. No thanks. All right. Love you. Bye. Happens every time. Never fails. Um, did you say you go first or me?
You go first this time.
I only have 2 things. Okay. Um, honestly, I would bring back Aquanet.
I love Aquanet.
I hate the smell of it because
Me
I don't
too.
like things that smell too much like hairspray, but that stuff
Yeah.
works. And
Yes.
the older I get, my hair's thinning. It doesn't want to stay, and
Oh
I need
yeah.
nothing that I use stays.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I would bring back Aquanet, but it has to smell better.
Yes.
And then I put like just DIY celebrations. Like let's just start doing our own birthdays again where you make your own cake. And like
Yes.
for prom, we did our own hair and makeup. I just think sometimes things are so overdone these days. And let's
Yes.
just go back to like DIY stuff.
Yes. So one thing I want to bring back is manners.
There you go.
And then I'm going to go way out on a limb and I'm going to say, let's bring back the time when there was no cell phones. I love them so much, and I'm addicted in a lot of ways, as most of us are. But oh my gosh, the freedom.
Yes.
It's like, how did you know where to hang out? Okay, you drove by or went by and you saw all the bikes in the yard, or you had to call on the house phone and be like, hey, come over here at 10 o'clock, whatever. The freedom that you had not being attached to a phone. But
Yeah.
other than that, which is not going to happen, let's bring back tracksuits. I love them. I
You
can
never know,
rock.
that may come back.
I can rock a tracksuit.
I apparently liked your tracksuits too,
Yeah, I
because
look fast.
I've got some pictures of me wearing them.
Yes.
Okay. So next is number 18,
Oh, okay.
bucket list items.
So I really, really, really want to travel. I feel like most of my life I have, out of necessity, I've worked and not had a ton of vacations and things like that. Um, not going to look in the rearview mirror, but I really want to travel. And when I say travel, I do want to see the US. I really want to go out west. I want to do long road trips. I want to see our country. But I also want to see Italy. We talked about that last season. I want to see Italy and Greece, Ireland, Scotland. I mean, I just want to really travel, go to Spain. I think that would just be super fun. And I need some culture in my life, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I would love to visit Italy and Greece. I actually
Mm-hmm.
put Canada on this because I would like to see Banff and a couple of those places, but
Yes.
those three countries. And I've said this before, and this is stupid to some people, but I want to be able to have said that I attended every SEC football stadium before I die. And
Admirable.
I've only been to like maybe five or six. So visit every SEC football stadium, a cross country RV trip at some
Mm-hmm.
point. And honestly, I may regret this, but I would like to live to be 100. I'm not ready to say, that my life is more than halfway over. So I want to be able to live to 100.
Yeah, I love that. I want to live to be 100 if I'm in decent health. I
Right.
mean, I don't want to be existing on machines and, a feeding tube. Yes, if I have any quality of life, I would love to live to be
Sure.
100. Now, when I get married again, you can ask my husband if he would like for me to live to be 100, and the answer is probably no, but, you know,
Well,
depends on who that is.
we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
That's right.
Okay, number 7. Song. This one's like songs that really like get you in your feels. I have a few.
Yes, you go first. I
Okay.
only have one that I can think of
Okay.
that's just like, ooh,
Well, I listen to my playlist all the time, so I'm always having songs come up, and these are just they're so random, but like every time I hear them, I just like something just gets to me. Leather and Lace,
yes,
love that song.
love it.
Um, do you remember that song by Richard Marx, Right Here Waiting?
Yes, that's
For
one of
whatever
mine.
for what it's just it always gets to me. I don't know if it sparks back some time in my life or memory or what, but Eternal Flame,
Yes,
the Sarah McLachlan, I Will Remember You
yes,
every time. And Glory of Love, I think we've talked about this, the Peter Cetera song. And Piano in the Dark. I have put that song on repeat so many times here within the past like 6 months or a year.
well, if I take myself way back to the 80s, like skating, and I'm crying over a boy,
Yeah.
I want to hear Chicago, Lionel Richie, stuff like
Journey.
that. Yes, Journey. But one song that will still, well, there's two, but one that will really put me in my feels is Against All Odds by Phil
Yeah.
Collins.
Yeah.
It does something to me. I don't know why. And then, and I'm drawing a blank on the artist. It's not Peter Frampton. I'll have to come back to it. See, this is why you should take notes. And
Mhm.
that's, you know, but it's a song about regret and a guy who goes to a liquor store and he ends up running into his first love, and they drink beer and sit in the car and talk, reminisce and talk about old times and all of that. And it's like on Christmas Eve. And so that one always makes me cry.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, 22. What's our
Okay.
22?
What
What
movie never fails to make you cry?
I know there's so many, but I could honestly, when I got to this one, I could only think of one
Mm-hmm.
every single time I watch Terms of Endearment.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah. Terms of Endearment. That's all I have.
So, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
I've not seen that.
Okay, well, it makes me cry every time. And I don't want to give it away if anybody wants to watch it, although it's old and, it's been around for years and years, probably 15 years. So if you haven't seen it, that's your own fault. But it's about a guy that is kind of aging backwards and this love story where he meets the love of his life. And it's just very sad
Hmm.
and touching. And it's got a lot of cute little funny, heartwarming parts too. So it's not all sad, but it's just the premise of it is really sad. And then what is the movie with, Bashful and Blush and Shelby, and she's getting
Still
married,
Magnolias?
and Still Magnolias? That one makes me cry
Yeah.
too. That one's sad.
Yeah,
But
that's
Terms
it.
of Endearment is a tearjerker.
Yeah. It has some funny parts in it too, because
It does.
I love the actresses in that movie, but it does get me crying every time. 23. I know people are thinking y'all are so dumb for doing this randomizer. Oh, this was a hard one for me.
I know.
How would your friends describe you versus how strangers would describe you? Hmm.
Okay. So this is one that I'm going to try not to ramble. I think I'm not going to say I'm different people because I'm not. I'm the same person all the time, but I do think at work people that don't know me well would say that I'm a hard ass and probably aggressive, or maybe aggressive is not the right word, although that's what they might say. They might
Assertive.
say assertive. Um, but I would say those that don't know me super well would be like, wow, she's a go getter. She's confident. I probably get on people's nerves asking lots of questions, but I like to know things and I like to make sure I'm prepared and understand things. Um, but my friends would say that I am probably goofy and loyal. I know we've talked about that last season, but that I'm really soft inside. I do have a hard exterior, but I am soft. At
I
least
was,
that's what I want them to say.
yeah, because I was joking around with you the other day about your M&M analogy.
Yeah,
It's-
that's true.
I put, and I'm just going off of what my friends have told me. Okay, this isn't what I think; it's just things I've been told. That I can be funny. I mean, I'm no Mandy, but I can be funny. I'm the trip planner.
Yes.
I like to plan things, and that I can be Miss Bossy Pants. Okay, and I would think that strangers probably think that I can be nice. I'm not saying that I can't be. I'm just saying. I just think that strangers, when they first meet you, are based off of things that people may tell Jeffrey or whatever. Oh, she was so sweet, or oh, we love your wife.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
All right, number 3.
Ooh, guilty pleasures. Ooh. So, self care is a big one to me. I love to get a pedicure. I love to get a massage. I love to get a facial. I love to do anything that is making me, anything that I think is self care that is helping me feel better, get my hair done, whatever. Um,
But does that
I,
make you feel
l-
guilty for doing it?
yeah,
It does?
sometimes it does. Um, I think I feel much more guilty when I go and down two things of chips and drink about three margaritas.
See,
You
guess
know
what?
that, but that's my favorite. But um, but I love self care, and I do feel guilty for doing it. What about you?
I only put one thing, but sorry, this tahini is gonna like tear up my lips, but I put that I love the housewives shows.
Oh
I
yeah,
love to watch the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Orange County. Used to
yeah,
watch New York before they changed the cast, and New Jersey. Those are the four that I watch. Every time I've got it on, when Will walks through, he's like, "Why do you watch this?" Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I just do. Any kind of
Well,
reality, Southern Charm. I love all of it. I just,
I totally didn't think about reality shows, but yes, I love Southern Charm because I love their drama. And I love the
oh
Kardashians.
yeah,
And my boys are the same thing. They're like, Mom, really?
yes, I used to watch the
That's,
Kardashians all the time.
yeah. I can't
Uh,
help it. It's like a train wreck.
I know. Number 10. What's your love language? And then I put on here, what is your love language? Obviously receiving, but what is it giving? Because it can be
So,
different.
so receiving is probably acts of service. My, that's what I love. Um, what I love to give, I think, is words of affirmation and probably acts of service. Like I like to do things for people
Yeah.
too, but it's not necessarily gifts. I like to just do things for people.
I think my love languages are quality time.
Mm-hmm.
That's, obviously mainly with my family. And then acts of service. And that's just sometimes iffy. If things need to be done
Mm-hmm.
and they just get done without me mentioning it or asking, again, this is usually just around here, at the house, but those two things for me are my love languages right now. And I think forgiving, like when I try to show someone my love, it would be I love to buy gifts for people.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's acts of service. Again, the acts of service for me is kind of iffy on both ends because
Yeah.
it just depends. But I would say my first two are the quality time and gifts for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, number 28.
So most used emoji on your phone.
Okay. I put 3 and well, I should have put 4, but I always put that laughing emoji.
Yes.
I'm always doing the face palm emoji. Always. And I'm always doing the shruggy emoji like I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And then I do the heart one a lot too.
Yeah.
Those are always my go-tos. If there was probably flipping someone off, I would have that one. There may be, and I just hadn't
There it
found it.
is.
Okay. Dang, I can't believe I hadn't found it.
So I've got like three or four. Mine is always the crying laughing.
Yes,
Always. That is my most
me
used.
too.
The second one is probably the skull and crossbones, where I'm saying I am dead, where I am laughing so hard I'm dead.
Yeah.
So that one, I do heart stuff a lot. So I'll say the heart. And then mine is the girl doing this, like guilty.
Oh,
Like I
yeah.
do that one all the time too.
Yeah, I do that one a lot too. Okay. We've already done 23. Come on, generator. 29. What gives you the ick?
We don't we don't have that kind of time,
I know
Lisa.
one thing, but we're not going to say.
If you say pawpaw shoes, I'm gonna die.
Not saying anything.
Okay, so oh God, this is so much. And we don't have that kind of time. We're already 30 minutes in. So Number one, I cannot stand a non-masculine man. And what I mean by that, please hear me.
I know.
What I mean by that is a man who thinks that he's like tough and masculine and he's going to like run the show, and he's not masculine at all in his energy. And so, again, I'm not talking about men who have more feminine qualities. I'm talking about a man who thinks he's like Mr. Macho and
Yeah.
he's so not. Like that gives me the ick. Another thing is somebody who is just like trying to touch me or something when it's not welcome. It gives me the creeps. Like, do not touch me. Do not try to hug me. Don't put your hand on me. Like, it makes my skin crawl.
Okay, I put like smelly houses or cars. Like
Yeah.
when you go in and it just smells icky, dirty,
Yeah.
or there's some stench or something.
Yes.
Um, and ego or arrogance, that's probably my number one. That has always rubbed me the wrong way. Like, I don't care who you think you are.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. Like, you get over yourself. Ego and arrogance, no. And then I put unwashed hair. Like, I don't wash my hair every day. So I'm not saying you have to wash your hair every day, but when it looks unwashed, I can't deal. If I'm sitting behind you at a game or the theater or something and your hair looks bad, I'm getting cracked up thinking about it. I just I can't deal with unwashed hair. So
Yeah. Well, maybe I need to change my non macho one to the ego thing, because that's what I'm trying to say.
yeah,
It's like somebody who thinks they're so machismo, like coming in there being all, but they're not masculine at all, because masculine is not like boastful and acting crazy.
yeah.
It's an energy, right? And so if you have to act like that, yeah. So that's my thing. And pawpaw shoes.
And
That
pop-off
is a
shoes.
that is a no, 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 no. I'm constantly looking down at shoes. No.
Okay, number 13 is the best duos.
Yeah. Well, obviously.
Obvi,
Obvi. You and me.
right.
I think we can move on from that question.
That's the
Um,
number one.
yeah. What is Ponch and John from Chips? Bo and Luke Duke,
Oh
Sonny
yeah.
and Cher, like thinking of all these little duos. I don't know.
These have always been my most favorite duos. Kevin James and Leah Remini
Oh,
on
yes.
King of Queens, and I follow them on social media. They are hilarious. I am in
Yes.
love with both of them.
Yes.
So they're brilliant together. Brooks and Dunn. Oh my gosh, I love Brooks and Dunn. And then I don't know their names, but the two guys from Scrubs, they still
Yes.
do stuff together, like commercials and all that kind of stuff. I don't know their names, but they always crack
Yes.
me up. They are the best.
Is
Okay, I was kind of hoping we would not get to this one today, but it's number 30, your most embarrassing moment.
There's too many to count. I don't even know if we can do this one. I
Well,
could, mine is,
do you
I
want me to go first or do you want to?
don't care. I mean, it's awful.
Okay, well, I'll go. Um, so and honestly, it was so innocent, but
Yeah.
after the fact, so in 5th grade, we had a kid in our class and he was absent that day. And so I guess the teacher was calling roll. I don't remember. I don't really remember too much of the specifics, but um so gosh, I got to say his name. I think it's fine cuz it's not really about him, but his name was Billy Harney. And so he was out, or we had a sub. Maybe it was a sub. And somehow it came up about, I don't know if she was asking his name or what, but anyway, I said, I said Billy Horny. Now listen, I did not know what that word meant in 5th grade. I thought that was his last name, okay? So I said Billy Horny. And I remember some people laughing about it, one of which was who ended up being my boyfriend in high school. Okay, I'm gonna call you out, Brian. You laughed about it. And so the teacher came over, obviously knowing what that word meant, asking me about it. It was saying, "What did you say his name was?" And so I just kept repeating it. And so she was like, "Do you know what that means?" And I'm just like, "No, I'm just
It's his
telling you his
name.
name."
What do you mean?
So anyway, that really is the only thing that I can think of. But yeah, I mean, just little old me in 5th grade just saying Billy Horny.
If I had the crying emoji in real life,
I hope
because
Billy's not around to listen to this.
oh my God. Okay. Well, this, I don't even know if I can say it. It's that bad. So you're going to get a kick out of it. So, so, um, I can't say any names either because it's not appropriate, but, um, I was maybe 18, 17, 18. Like I was, a older teenager. And I was at the lake and I used to ride jet skis. And so I was riding this jet ski and I got off of it. And this friend of ours was there, a male. And um, I was telling him, like, I got off of it and I was like telling him, like, how to, crank it or whatever. Like, I was giving him these instructions, standing there on the dock. So So when he gets on it and he takes off, I realize
You're
that
still standing on it.
my bathing suit needed to be adjusted.
Top or bottom?
So I was standing there having this whole conversation with him about how to crank it. And he was just apparently having a look see.
I'm sure he really paid attention to what you said. He's like, yeah, okay.
My God. Anyway, oh, I'm literally crying. That is the worst.
Listen, don't lean over if you're wearing a bikini.
Oh, God. Anyway,
Okay.
well, he got an eyeful and I was mortified.
That's so
So,
funny.
anyway, we won't talk about that. I
Okay.
was hoping we wouldn't get to that question, but apparently we did.
Okay, question number 1.
So,
Oh,
popular songs you don't like.
yeah, songs that are really, really popular that you're just like, no, I can't. If I hear that song one more time.
This one is really hard for me because in my car, I only listen to certain XM stations, or I will have it on my playlist or something like that. I mean, I rarely have it on where I know what's popular. Like, I had to Google what are some popular songs, and I didn't even recognize half of them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even, I don't listen to that. But one that seems to be everywhere right now, and I think I don't like it because it gets stuck in my head and it's not my genre, is the hot to go, that
Hmm.
HOTTOGO. Like, I
Yeah.
want to jab an ice pick because it won't get out of my head. I'll be singing it for the rest of the night.
Hmm. I have two. One is just I've never really just cared for the song, so whenever it comes on, I would always just change the station. But it's "Hungry Eyes." I just never really cared for that song. But the other one that immediately popped up in my head, because I've just always felt this way about this song, because it was played so much. And I really wasn't a fan of the song to begin with. And then it just, everywhere I turned, it was playing. And at the time, I was involved in like women's ministry and this and that, other. So, of course, it was played even more. But the song Oceans, I
Yes.
swear, if I hear that song ever, like within 50 seconds, I'm like, change it. Somebody change the song. I cannot handle hearing this song. I know a lot of
Yeah.
people love it, but it just, no, no. This is a strange one. Number 27, your most memorable dream or nightmare?
Mm. I think I'm going to have to skip that one
Okay.
for me. What about you?
Mine are just they're repeat offenders. I always
Yeah.
have these type of dreams. Now, I don't as much anymore. I used to always have dreams about alligators. I don't know what it was about
Mm.
alligators. And I was always trying to walk somewhere and they were just everywhere. And I would have to like, walk through this path or walk through whatever. And there were just always alligators around. It was almost like the same type of dream, almost, exactly.
Mm.
But I haven't had those dreams much anymore. I don't know where that came from. And then the other dream that I still have often, I even had this dream last week. So I'm trying to
Mm.
get to a destination. I can never get there. I'm going around the world to get there, through this town or through this house or whatever. And it's always shady areas, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going through different levels of homes. I'm going through buildings. I'm going through towns. It's just wherever. And I cannot get to where I need to be to do what I need to do.
Huh.
And that one is all the time. Like I said, it was last week.
That's interesting. I don't dream a ton, which I've heard is bad. That means you're not in super REM sleep, but I don't dream a ton. But I think the reason I dodge the question is because most of the time it's like a premonition of things to come. And it was kind of based in reality. So it was some things that I was like, woke up very upset about, but it was basically almost like a premonition of showing me things that were going on.
Right. I gotcha.
So that's my most memorable.
All right. Number 12, your top three pet peeves.
Um, Liars. Um, I think people that, and this is not really a liar, but people that don't say what they mean and mean what they say. They're just kind of superficial in that way. They're not authentic.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And then I would say people that are lazy, that have no motivation to do anything.
Mine are smacking. I cannot I
Yes.
cannot deal with smacking. There's
No.
a difference in crunching and smacking, okay? Smacking, no
Yes.
ma'am. No ma'am.
Yes.
I think I've even talked about this one before. When pedestrians do not use a crosswalk. I think, yeah, because I think you said you don't.
Here's my emoji.
If I'm driving and you just think that you have the right of way and you're crossing, no, ma'am, go back and use the crosswalk, and then I will stop and let you by. So, um, and then drivers that mess up the flow of traffic.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you're
Yeah.
already stopping, okay, let somebody out. But when you're coming down my street at 20 miles an hour, there's nobody behind you, there's no one coming, and you want to slow down and let me out. I know that you're trying to be nice, but if you would have just gone on, I'd already be backed out, excuse me, and out of my driveway. Or when
Yeah.
you're coming down the road and you want to let me pull out, thank you, I appreciate it, but you're holding up everybody behind you. If you would just go on, or people coming from the other direction and wanting you to cross
Yeah.
the lane, I can't I can't deal with it. So I
Yeah.
appreciate the courtesy, but it can cause more trouble than if you would just go on and let's all follow the rules and I'll pull out when I can pull out and I'll be on my way.
Yeah, I think to tack on to that, people that purposefully drive in the left lane and will not get over, even though people are like right on their butts or they're passing them on the right side, like, well, I'm going the speed limit, so I'm going to stay right here. Like,
Yeah.
that is so inconsiderate. You're not going with the flow of traffic. Get over that. That one causes me road rage.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
all right, number 15. So this is like your favorite Christian songs or Christian artists.
Lauren Daigle.
Okay.
Um, Honestly, Highlands Worship. So I've got a couple of their downloads on my phone in my playlist.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of good Christian artists, but I just don't listen to that genre a lot. But I love Lauren Daigle and her voice.
Yeah. I've got a Christian playlist that I listen to. I was listening to it last week. I love Christian music. I really do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, it's so hard for me to pick because there's so many of those songs that are special to me, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just hard to narrow it down. But these were the ones that I always just think of right off the top of my head. Obviously, even just classics like Amazing Grace, just
Yeah.
listening to that and hearing the words, it's a gorgeous song. I love How Great Thou Art, but I love the
Mm-hmm.
Carrie Underwood version
Yes.
of it. Gives me
Yes.
chills. And then the other four I put were these are some of my go tos. So You Are I Am by Mercy Me,
Mm-hmm.
um, The Great I Am by New Life Worship.
Mm-hmm.
If y'all haven't heard any of these songs, you really need to listen to them. No Longer Slaves by Bethel Music. Love that song. And all these songs I just put on repeat. And then the last one is My God by Jeremy Camp. I love Jeremy Camp, but that
Yeah.
song is probably one of my top two favorites of his. But gosh, there's so many. There's so many good Christian songs and artists. All right, number 9, your favorite TV shows.
Mm, Long list. So right now I'm watching The Diplomat on Netflix, which I love. But I love the classics. Friends, that's
Oh
my
yeah,
go-to. I love Friends. I could never get tired of it. Seinfeld, Frasier. I love some of the older shows.
me too.
Um, I don't know that I have a ton of new ones because I do have streaming platforms, but it's like what I want to watch is on Apple TV. So I get Apple TV and then I'll turn it off and have Hulu and then Peacock. And like there's all these different streaming services. And so
Yeah,
that's kind of annoying. But Ted Lasso was a great show. I loved it. But you know, some reality shows like you and I were talking about, Later Daters, that's pretty cute. I
yeah.
did end up watching that.
These are my favorite TV shows of all time. Friends, number one. I
Yeah,
still watch it now because it
me
comes on
too.
during the day a lot. And I laugh out loud at that show.
Yes.
King of Queens,
Yes.
I laugh out loud at that show. Those are my two top favorite of all time. And then I put Grey's Anatomy because I used to watch
Mhm.
that religiously. I remember when it first came on the air, and it was on, I think, Sunday nights initially, either at 8 or
Yeah.
9, and then it got moved to Thursday. Um, I remember laying in my bed in my townhouse when I would go to bed on Sunday nights watching that show. I was obsessed. Loved it.
Yes. That's a great show.
Okay. Let's do number 25, your worst habit.
Ugh. I have a lot.
Go
My
ahead.
worst habit is probably being too hard on myself. We talked about this last season too, where I give other people grace and I don't give myself any grace. I'm really hard on myself with everything, not just one thing. Um, But worst actual habit is saying that I'm not going to eat sugar. And then if I find something in my cabinet with sugar, I'm going to eat the whole thing. So, what about you?
I only put one, and it's interrupting. My kids tell me that all the time, especially my youngest, because I'm always like I have a lot of questions. Like, I remember my grandmother, another thing she used to always tell me, "You're so inquisitive." And she told me that when I was young because I didn't know what it meant when she told me. I just like to ask a lot of questions because I like to know the whys of everything. And so if my kids are telling me something, I'm interrupting, asking questions. And my youngest will be like, when I'll say something and he's explain it, he'll go and just look at me like, can I finish? So it's interrupting. I don't mean to, but I do. Let's look at 16. So, what would be your proudest moment? But I ended up putting three, and they each just have to do with my children. My oldest son graduating from college. We actually played a game here recently where my mom had asked us, "What's your proudest moment?" And my sister was like, "When my kids were born," and I said, "Well, I didn't say that because it was more than one moment. Obviously, my kids being born, sure, but I ended up saying when my oldest son graduated from college and like he was so excited that I had picked, his moment as my proudest
Mm-hmm.
moment. But I would also say when my youngest son became an Eagle Scout and
Yes.
when my daughter bought her home. So those are
Yes.
my three proudest moments, other than my kids being born.
Yeah. Obviously, very admirable. All three of those. Um, I would say proudest moment, which hasn't happened yet, but my son is graduating. And I know I mentioned on an episode or two ago that he was likely going to graduate on my grandmother's birthday because it was kind of, hey, it's May 9th and 10th, and we'll let you know what college, whether it's business or science or whatever, what day they're graduating. So
Right.
I found out today he has been approved for graduation and he will be graduating on my grandmother's birthday.
Oh, yay.
So uh, that is a proud moment. I think another proud moment, which again, trying to be a little more vague on purpose, but my oldest son had to make a really tough decision without really any help. And although it was kind of an everyday type decision, the place he was in his life, it was a very, very big decision. So he made that decision on his own. It was the right one. And I was very proud of him for being true to himself and sticking to his guns, even though the pressure that was in his life at that time would have sent him in the other direction.
Yeah.
So I would say I was very proud of him for that.
Let's look at 14 if you have anything for that. Your favorite quotes or verses.
Oh, so many. So um, I would say, I'm the Lord your God. Is there anything too hard for me? I'll lean on that verse. I would also say Romans, it's either 8:26 or 8:28 or both, but it's basically where he's talking about, God understands groans. So when you're heartbroken or you're sad and you don't really know what to say, God understands what you're going through. And then as far as, any kind of movie quote, it's anything from Step Brothers.
I thought you were going to say Napoleon Dynamite.
That too. It's so funny. So any movie quote, just about, but that's too easy for me because I talk in movie quotes. But yeah, help me, Tom Cruise from Talladega Nights. I mean, there's so many good, funny quotes and verses that I could say.
I've got two verses and then a quote. So my very favorite is James 5:16. And I've actually thought about getting a tattoo that says that and I just haven't, but that has been my favorite verse for so long. And so it's basically, therefore, confess your sins to one another, praying for one another so that you may be healed. The prayer of a righteous man is powerful and effective. That verse
Mm-hmm.
was huge for me a long
Mm-hmm.
time ago for so many reasons. I love that verse.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Psalm 107:2 is basically, I can't quote it exactly, but it basically talks about let the redeemed of the Lord, um, what is it? Yes, I knew it was about telling their story. Yeah, Lisa, this is really your favorite verse. You don't even know it. Let the redeemed of the Lord tell their story, those he redeemed from the hand of the foe. So
Yeah.
I just didn't want to butcher it, but I knew it was about telling stories. And, that's what I did for a few years when I was part of a women's ministry. And it kind of coincides with James 5:16. You're sharing your story, you're sharing your hardship with others so that they pray for you, so that you may be redeemed, that you can move on helping others. So I just love those two verses. And then
Yeah.
um, a quote, it was not said to me, but it was the husband of a friend saying it to the husband of another friend. And he was helping him do something. I guess the guy was like, no, don't worry about it. You don't have to do that. And so finally, the other guy just said, shut up and be served. And so
Yeah.
that always stuck with me because we so often love to serve others and help others, but we don't always like to take it. We don't always like
Yeah.
to ask for help. And so we have to let other people serve us and help us just like we like to do. And by saying, no, don't worry about it, we're keeping other people from doing that.
Yeah.
So I think that's another way to look at it.
Yeah. Same exact thing, different verbiage. Somebody told me stop stealing my blessing.
All time favorite albums. I listed these just like that, and mine have nothing to do with how they like were on the billboards or anything like that. How many sales they had. For me, any artist that I liked, usually there would only be like maybe 4 songs on an album that I really liked, and the rest I would never
Mm-hmm.
listen to because I didn't like. These albums, either every single song I liked, or maybe with the exception of 1 or 2. So if I liked 90% of the album, it made this list. So Jagged Little Pill by Alanis Morissette,
Mm-hmm.
loved that album, still do. Wide Open Spaces by Dixie Chicks. Now, for a while, Dixie Chicks got on my nerves, but
Mm-hmm.
um, that album, it, it's a good album. Um, Much to my youngest son's surprise, Licensed to Ill.
Yes, that's one of mine.
I love that album. He was like, "You used to listen to them." I was like, "Yes, I did."
Yes.
And then Taylor Swift's The Tortured Poets Department. I can't get enough of that album, and I have never been a huge Taylor Swift fan, but that album is brilliant.
I still
That's
haven't
all I got.
listened to it. I
It,
need
it
to.
it's so good. It is so. She is like a lyrical genius. She really is. Um, but it's a really good album. That's all I have.
Okay. So I've got a lot, but these are in no order either. It was just some that I was thinking of. So Purple Rain by Prince. I mean, not only is it a classic and most people like it, but I loved it. I have a lot of fond memories listening to Prince. I did have Beastie Boys on here, which I love. Led Zeppelin. There's two different albums that I think are good. So Led Zeppelin 2 and Led Zeppelin 4. They've got Cashmere, Black Dog, a lot of those songs that I love on there. Um, Rumors by Fleetwood Mac. That is
Hmm.
an awesome album. And then, of course, I had to throw some Tool in here. I love Lateralis, 10,000 Days, um, Fear Inoculum. I like all of their albums. Let's just call it what it is.
Um, Songs that never get old for me. Dancing Queen, love that song. Living on a Prayer, love that song.
Yes.
Pour Some Sugar on Me. I can't believe I forgot to put that one down. And Friends in Low Places. Those are just those hype songs that just always get you in such a good mood, no matter where you are or what you're doing.
So Journey, Don't Stop Believing. Um, and I agree with the Bon Jovi. Love it.
So number two, an artist that you really, really like that people may not know about. And mine is a girl named Mandy Mapes.
Mm-hmm.
So she used to be on the worship team at a church that I used to go to years ago.
Mm-hmm.
She has the most beautiful, unique voice. She's kind of folksy sounding,
Mm-hmm.
and I should have written her album down. But if anybody is interested in checking her out, it's Mandy with an I, Mapes, Mapes, and she's got Christian. I think she may have like a Christian album out, and also like a pop folksy kind of album out as well. But her voice is so gorgeous. Sometimes I'll sit out on my patio in the mornings drinking my coffee, and I've got her playlist going.
Hmm.
So y'all need to check her out.
Yeah, I'll have to check her out. So, my favorite artist that a lot of people may not know about, and I've actually gone to one of his shows and met him in person, is John Paul White. And he is a giant in the music industry, but a lot of people don't know about him. He is a singer songwriter, and he's actually done a song with Taylor Swift, and he wrote it.
Hmm.
And so you can find that on Spotify or Apple Music. He also does solo stuff. I went to one of his solo shows back in, I want to say it was February 24, maybe. Um, so about a year ago. And then he also was in the Civil Wars. And if you haven't heard of the Civil Wars, they're incredible. But he has got a very unique voice. He's very talented musically. And he lived in Nashville, I think, for a long time and wrote music for people. But he actually lives in Florence.
Hmm.
So he's not far up the road.
All right, last question. Number 8, who are your Hollywood crushes?
Brad Pitt all day. Can't help it. Can't help it. Um, what's the guy that plays? I can never remember his name to save my life, but he plays in the Peaky Blinders. Um, not Jillian, but it's something like that. He is so good looking. I don't know why. I'm obsessed.
I never saw that. I have a friend that watched it and mentioned something to me about watching it, and I never did. So I don't know who that is.
Yeah. So he's just got a unique look. He's just great looking. And then you got to go with George Clooney. We've talked about him ad nauseum. He's so good looking. Come on.
Well, of course he's on my list. George Clooney, Paul Walker.
Oh,
Yes, he's
yeah.
no longer with us, but Paul
Yep.
Walker used
Yep.
to be my number one.
Yeah.
Um, Adam Levine.
Yes. I forgot about him. Darn it.
Yeah, Adam Levine. Listen, I've always loved Leonardo. Always. Leonardo DiCaprio. Um, Plus, he's just a brilliant actor, but there's just something about him. I've always liked him. And Patrick Dempsey, McDreamy, of course.
Of
You know,
course.
Can't Buy Me
How did I
Love.
forget him too? Lord have mercy.
Who would have thought we were all watching Can't Buy Me Love that he would
I
make my
know. I
Hollywood?
know. Now I need to watch it again.
And then surprisingly, I put Edward Norton. I love Ed Norton,
Yeah.
but I think it's because a lot of his movies that I've seen him in, like to me, he just captures my attention or whatever. He's not really the best looking one out of all of these, but there's just something about him. And then, of course, I have to give an honorable mention to Kevin James because men that make me laugh, I find attractive.
Yes.
So,
John Krasinski. How
oh
did I
yeah,
forget about him? You know, he's in Jack Ryan. That's a show I love. But he's just, I don't know. There's something about him
yeah.
too. He's kind of a quiet hot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think he's cute.
All right. Well, we are done. That's all of our questions. All right.
Well,
We'll
have
see
a
y'all
good
next
rest of your
time.
week.
All right. Bye.
Bye.